sharpened. As you play against such good players, it hones you as a player. And this is something that you'll probably even notice for the people who are in the future and you're going back and you're watching day 1 versus day 2, the same players on the same decks. You're going to see them playing faster and tighter because they're just more comfortable on those decks. But we are going to head over to the table now. The players are getting shuffled and sleeved up. Let's get into it.
And this is going to be pretty exciting. So we mentioned Finnegan's deck. It'll be on the left for you there. And it is going to be Suicune. And it has some pretty interesting cards in it, I must say. So it's the typical Suicune Inteleon Ludicolo, right? But he's like, all right, I need to beat Mew. What's the best way to beat Mew? Well, how about I play 4 Cross Switcher in my deck?
But what's Cross Switcher going to do for this? This is the trainer card. We have to play 2 of them at a time.
Yeah.
And so you need to have both of them in the hand at once. And this is where the Drizzile line starts to come in. If you have one and not the other, very easy to find that. Get that switch. Keep yourself very proactive with knowing when you can attack. Because as you said, the Ludicolo and the Suicune, such an explosive combo of damage, you need to be able to take advantage of that right when the opportunity presents itself and before that window closes.
And then taking a look at Xander Perot, and they are playing the list that we actually started off the weekend with Raul Reddy, playing that Arceus Inteleon and just really hammering home the consistency of that Arceus V-Star.
Once you have the Arceus V-Star in play, it doesn't do, the massive damage numbers that we're kind of used to seeing from other V-Max Pokemon and things of that nature, but it does enough, right? You're setting up consistent 2-turn KOs, but because of that energy acceleration from the Trinity Charge, you're always ready to go. You have just this consistent pressure that is constant. Your opponent, after they get a knockout, they're thinking, okay, it's going to take a bit for my opponent to maybe reestablish the next threat, but Arceus gets set up, and then it's just a constant barrage.
All right, coin flip does start off the game
here.
Who's
going to go first? The other big question for today. Getting top 8 started off. The players looking now at their opening hands. Need to find a basic Pokemon to start. There's one. Not the prophecy.
Oh.
Okay, no, okay. There is a basic, no mulligan.
I was talking with Finn a little earlier. Again, I'm going to call him Finn, Daniel on the screen. But, talking with them, and he does not like starting Suicune. This deck is all about, I'm just going to Sobble and then just stream Melanies and stuff together.
Suicune in the prizes, a rare candy, Ludicolo. Not really something you like to see, unfortunately. Arceus V in the prizes for Xander.
The big thing, I think, for Xander, maybe if it comes up, is that Galarian Zigzagoon up there in the top corner of the prizes. Not really going to have access to that for the whole game. So we'll have to see if that extra damage isn't really going to come into effect. And here we go. We are starting our top 8 here at Salt Lake City Regionals Masters Division for the Pokemon TCG.
So getting in the Suicune, unfortunately, the start you don't want to see, but by getting this into the active right away, you can make use of that fleet-footed, get some extra card draw, and then try to pivot to something a little bit stronger. Xander missing out on the Galarian Zigzagoon, as you had mentioned, just means that you're missing out on that extra chip damage you need to hit those correct numbers to get the KOs you're looking for.
Here we start off with an Ultra Ball, discarding Path to the Peak. It's not really going to be a card Xander wants to put into play in this matchup. You can shut off that draw from Suicune V, but you also are shutting off your Starbirth ability from Arceus.
Yeah, and then we've got a little bit of a Crobat in the deck as well, and you're just saying, we know that my opponent is also running the Inteleon line, so whether or not they get 1 or 2 extra card draws from the Suicune does not matter in theory, but Xander, of course, such a strong player, taking full stock of what is in the deck, now seeing what is prized. This is something that's always impressed me, right, Jeremy? It's just the ability to look at a pile of 50-some cards and knowing which 6 are missing.
Oh, yeah, you really have to memorize your deck list, know your routes to victory in each matchup, and figure out what you'll need from then on.
And it looks like Arceus was picked up off of the Ultra Ball. We're going to get this down into play, set up the evolution for next round. Love to see it. Another Ultra Ball. What are you grabbing off of this one?
Looks
the
like
Crobat.
Yeah, Crobat V gonna use that Dark Asset ability to draw some cards here. Remember, going first, you're not able to use a supporter, but you are able to draw cards in other ways, like the ability from Crobat V, and you cannot attack, but an Energy and an Arceus would be pretty good right here.
Yeah, exactly. Get that set up. That way you only need a double turbo or something of that nature, or just one more manual attachment to get the attack next round.
And it does look like Xander has that Arceus V, so we'll see a big 5 cards from the Crobat V here, needing to find at least an Energy, and off the top, double turbo.
All right, going up to 6. Has the Energy now for the attachment. It looks like everything is trying to come together for Xander here. This isn't the deck that we're normally used to seeing, where it's like just massive, strong, quick attacks. You need to have a good foundation first. Back over to Daniel now.
One thing to keep in mind is Suicune as a deck can attack going second turn 1 with help thanks to a card like Melanie. And with that, it means just an easy KO on the Sobble. And with no other Sobble in play, Xander could be cut off of Drizzile for a little bit here. And if Finn has that in hand, needs a way to discard these water energies that he's going to get.
We did see it a little bit in day 1, where the threat of the Blizzard Rondo pressures your opponent from benching these basic Pokemon because they don't want to power up that ability. Fortunately, the Sobble, very baby, very small HP pool indeed. And now the Capacious Bucket getting 2 water energies, and of course Daniel taking that deep look within the deck list, taking some notes here. And now we're looking for a quick ball, discard one of these water energies, hopefully get it back onto the Suicune with the Melanie.
Oh my, yeah, this hand is amazing. You have that quick ball for the water energy. Melanie already in hand. You get to grab another Suicune here, and you're just going to go all out here.
You have the second Suicune now set up on the bench as an additional threat, the ability to accelerate into that second Blizzard Rondo and not let up the pressure on Xander. So let's see how the next part of this turn is going to play out.
Well, it's not going to be good for Xander, I'll tell you that much.
There's the probably going for Melanie first. Does draw you 3 cards. Important to draw your cards first. Have a full idea of what's in your hand, what's in your arsenal. Daniel Lynch here. Top 8 Masters Division, Salt Lake City. I'm just grinning from ear to ear. I know chat can't see me, but I'm just so excited to see this deck pop off, because it is one that, especially yesterday, really showcased, you know, the finesse of being able to put together these sequences and these combos.
Well, this has been an amazing turn from Daniel here. Has the second energy on the Suicune V in the active to go along with a Lotad and a Sobble to join the Suicune that he found off the quick ball. And then another quick ball from Daniel here. We could see another Sobble, and this is exactly where you want to be. You're going to be taking a prize turn 1. You got your setup for later. We see a Rare Candy and maybe Shady Dealings and Teleon in there. I'm not too sure.
And if you go for the quick ball here, you're just a little bit hesitant, right? The reason Daniel doesn't want to go for this right away is just because the card is super important you want to hold on to. And currently there's no need to have the extra benched Pokemon. Just going to hold off for now and just get the knockout with the Suicune. We're back over to Xander now. And fortunately, you know, only down 1 prize. Getting that Sobble knocked out is huge, slowing down that search engine as well for Xander's side. Goes for the Ultra Ball. Needs to start digging.
We could see a knockout here from Xander's side of things. You get the Arceus V-Star, and then with Starburst, you're able to find that Choice Belt to hit that 210 damage on the Suicune V. It has to be where Xander is trying to go with this, but you also want to find another attacker to get charged up, because if you think about it, if Daniel has the perfect hand, it's a Rare Candy Ludicolo, a Melanie, and an Energy away from getting a full bench knocking out.
And that's just what needs to happen here. A little bit of hesitation, trying to figure out, you know, if I can't make this combo happen, right? The players are always having that plan B, that contingency. If I can't make that combo happen, that knockout happen, you know, what do I do instead? Do I just switch into this Crobat and send it up there as a way to buy myself a turn? But then you're down, you're going to be down potentially 3 prizes. It's just not looking great here for Xander.
Xander also has to keep in mind to play around Suicune's attack. You know your opponent can have that extra 100 damage out of nowhere from Ludicolo, so you really need to limit your bench and play really tight. And I think here that Starbirth is going to find that Marnie and already has the path to the peak in hand.
There are some, you know, again, these older decks kind of creeping back into the metagame. You have to remind yourself, you know, how did I used to play this matchup? What's the proper line? How many things can I properly bench here? And I think you just have to take that risk. You can't let your opponent bully you out of getting your Sobble line set up, because then you're just going to fall further and further behind on getting those resources, in my opinion.
So it looks like it was the choice belt for the grab, so that will allow Xander to take the knockout here, path to the peak, and a Marnie. This is the game plan for Xander's deck. You have to stick this path, take a knockout, Marnie them, and then hope Daniel can't do anything later on.
If we can Marnie Daniel into a bad hand here, then you buy yourself so much time to get reset up. And after the Marnie, you can potentially develop another Pokemon onto the bench and be the recipient of the energies from the Trinity Charge.
And it does look like a Quick Ball in hand, I believe. And that would allow Xander to find another Arceus V to get things going.
Arceus V set up already out of the gate with 3 energy means you just have to go for another evolution. The Starbirth proving to be such a powerful ability from this position so that you can get those 2 needed cards fished directly out of the deck and into your hand.
All right, I think I'm seeing a little bit of the future here, but remember that Galarian Zigzagoon in the prizes?
Yes.
Up in the little top right corner? Well, Suicune V has 210 HP. The Arceus with 3 basic energy is going to do 200 damage. 10 damage short from taking a knockout on the V.
Oh, you're
only
putting
one
it out
choice,
there in the
only
world,
one choice belt in the deck. It's already on the active Arceus.
So we're already seeing the makings of a long-term play. Xander is aware that the Galarian Zigzagoon is in those prizes and is going to start going aggressive here in fishing. Takes 2.
Does not find it.
And you can see sometimes that a deck that's normally not aggressive can sometimes take a more aggressive line when a key piece is in the prizes like that. The players are always open to these different lines and these different cadences that the deck potentially offers them. Second Suicune coming from the bench into the active spot.
Yeah, right now Suicune is doing 120 damage. So with 3 more bench Pokemon and a Ludicolo, that should be enough.
Capture energy coming through the manual attachment. Still, again, the hesitation here for both players is so important to note because they're constantly calculating all of these different potential lines of play. You need to do your manual attachment for this round, but what's the Pokemon you're going to get off the capture energy? We did see the Drizzile in Daniel's hand, so we could see even more searching through the list to put through a combo here, potentially trying to get that Ludicolo to come through.
I was mistaken. I just am really bad at math. It's going to be 20 short because it does not count the opponent's active. So,
oh yeah,
it's really heads-up play from Xander there, just limiting his bench, playing around the big attack in Daniel's deck, and we're going to have to see if he's going to be able to pull it out. There is 1 choice belt, so if he's able to find that with a full bench, get the Melanie, and get things going, we could see it, but that's a tall order.
Yeah, I mean, with Drizzile, there is always a way to find these pieces, and you can't count them out, but you have to remember that Daniel can't mis-sequence this. With so many moving pieces, so many things need to go in the right order. Here comes Melanie, attaches the water energy from the discard pile. We're going to draw 3 more cards here. And now that Xander has the 2 Arceus V in play.
He put the Sobble from the capture energy in hand instead.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. So
get that all sorted out first. Here is the Melanie attaching that water and 3 cards, big 3 cards.
All right, so nice catch there. Just play that down, get that out of the hand. And with this, we're starting to see the makings of the combo come together. Again, we have that Drizzile in hand. Just also having to calculate, right? Daniel needs to make sure we're counting the bench. But what I was trying to say earlier was simply that Xander having the 2 Arceus V and potential V-Star in play, just kind of moving back and forth and swapping, means that you aren't as reliant on setting up the Inteleon line, where now that you've kind of done your due diligence here in the early turns, you can keep limiting your bench and it doesn't feel like you're cutting yourself off.
All right, step 1 after that Melanie is Drizzile for Daniel here, and is going to need to find quite a few cards. Rare Candy, Ludicolo, another bench Pokemon, and the Choice Belt. So a tall order here. Path to the Peak, you're not allowed to use the extra draw card from the active Suicune, so really has to figure this out.
Yeah, we see the Ludicolo in the deck, but we don't have a way currently to get it out of the deck. Can we get like Evolution Incense off of the Drizzile here? But we still have to find the Choice Belt. So it's just a matter of, since I can't take the knockout this turn, or if I'm not seeing the line where I can, what is the next best play? Do I just retreat the Suicune, send up a Sobble to buy myself another round, and then come back in with a roaring Blizzard Rondo to just strike right back at this Arceus?
Well, there is the 5th bench Pokemon hitting the board, a second Lotad, and still needs a lot of cards. Already has played the supporter for the turn. I'm not sure. Yeah, just the Blizzard Rondo for 160 damage, and not the best turn you'd hope for from Daniel there.
Yeah, we've seen this time and time again, where the Arceus V-Star has a sizable enough HP pool where your opponent has to set up this 2-turn knockout, and this gives you the opportunity to use that double turbo energy to retreat, and then you're forcing them to have like additional resources like the boss's orders in order to close out the game, and you're just further keeping them out of the game with Path to the Peak.
Well, finally, a second Sobble hits the board from Xander after that first one got knocked out. Turn 1, and nothing really too much to speak of in hand. You got that Pal Pad to shuffle back a couple
the
supporters.
Marnie and the Professor's Research. Love to see that. We saw how important the Marnie was to this strategy. Getting rid of your opponent's hand, disrupting that combo. This Suicune deck needs to be able to gather the pieces after they went so much digging through the deck in order to find the setup, and wasn't able to have it come through completely to disrupt that with a Marnie, to have them start from square 1 to assemble another Suicune to get the crack back is going to be nigh impossible from this position. I think that Daniel Lynch, without any attackers in play right now, we did see a line on day 1 where a player was able to use just the Hydro Bullet right from the Inteleon.
Yeah.
And kind of boost that up with the Enthusiastic Dance. But of course, just taking a couple prizes there after knocking out that Suicune V.
Yeah, still no Galarian Zigzagoon, but thankfully the Arceus with the Choice Belt was still able to clean up the Suicune there. But we could see maybe Daniel take a turn where you actually get a knockout. Xander doesn't have that second V-Star, so might not be able to take the knockout on the Suicune and go from there. But still a tall order. You don't have a Suicune in play. You'll need a Melanie. We might even see an attack with the Lotad and or no, Lotad can't even attack. Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
It is very rough. Once you're in this position where your main attackers just got immediately swooped up because they were set up beautifully. We had the Melanie to accelerate the energy. Everything was ready to go, but we just did not have the rest of the pieces we needed. So we got Shady Dealings pulling the Capacious Bucket and the Raihan. Capacious Bucket gets 2 water energies, and now we have the Raihan.
So with the Raihan, it is the way for Daniel to be able to attack this turn and I believe take the knockout. No.
Yeah, I mean, with the damage already on the Arceus, with potential for Rare Candy
Yes.
to Enthusiastic Dance here, we're also getting a little bit of splash damage onto that Arceus that's on the bench. Daniel Lynch could certainly work their way into a pressing advantage here. And with only single prize Pokemon in play from this point, Xander Pero is going to need to give at least 2 more turns in order for Daniel Lynch to maybe take that final knockout.
And here Raihan is just stocking up the hand, and with the Aqua Bullet, will be able to take the knockout on that Arceus, having 120 left, does 120 damage. And you get to soften up that Arceus V on the bench with a couple of damage counters and hope it's going to be enough. You can set your hand up for next turn here, and you're going down to 3 prizes. You're going to need to take 2 more knockouts. It might be too tall of an order.
All right, so here comes the level ball. Again, just you can see the persistence of this deck, right? Even when it seems like they're in a bad spot, they have so many options available because of the Inteleon line. And even in this awkward spot without Suicune, the star of the deck, you're still able to pivot to something else. And Daniel Lynch playing a deck like this, the Tier 2 hero, as I said before, back against the wall. This is where the exciting moments happen, Jeremy. So I'm not counting him out just yet.
Don't let him say you said Suicune was Tier 2. Yeah, he's gone like 6-0 against Mew this weekend. It's pretty good. Here is the Shady Dealings grabbing that Evolution Incense, and things are building up. You already have that knockout. Get that Evo Incense for the Ludicolo maybe next turn. You need the Melanie, Suicune, few of those things, and it might get there.
Yeah, whenever we're seeing these combo turns come out of the Suicune Ludicolo, there's always 1 or 2 cards that are missing to kind of put the whole package together, but the chances of getting them, having everything fall into place is surprisingly high, right? It didn't come through the last time where we were missing a couple pieces to get the knockout with the Suicune, but now we have the 3rd Suicune V hitting the bench.
That is so scary. You saw Daniel just really not wanting to play it down.
Gets the Ludicolo out of the prizes.
Oh, that is big.
So now we can get another knockout. Daniel Lynch on 3 prizes. Even if this Arceus V-Star does go down, it's only giving up 2 prize cards. You got to find 1 more snipe.
Adam, what Arceus V-Star? That is an Arceus V. There's
He's
a couple
still a little boy.
Couple Arceus V in hand for Xander, and I believe it's just a boss's orders. It looks like maybe the level ball. So level ball does find Drizzile. The hand is live. I thought it was just completely useless.
All right, so level ball for Drizzile. And then Drizzile finding maybe an Evolution Incense to get the V-Star into the boss's orders. We've got 3 energy on this thing already to go with the attack. We can boss up that Suicune V, and will that be the finisher here in game 1 for Xander Pero?
Well, with the Galarian Zigzagoon prize, Xander is unable to take the 1-hit knockout on the Suicune V, but it does open up a situation where just another boss next turn, or even just it's the best attacker for Daniel right now. So if you deal that much damage to it, there's not going to be any free bench space unless a scoop up net's coming out, and you kind of just have to think you're in a pretty good position.
Exactly. With Daniel Lynch still, again, in a sort of an awkward prize mapping with needing to take 3 prizes, you are able to buy yourself another round if need be. And we've already, again, you had mentioned it way earlier, without that choice belt, getting the 1-hit KO is not going to be the answer here. But
Professor's Research was the grab off the Shady Dealings, so it'll be interesting to see if Xander decides to bench one of these Arceus. I think might as well, right?
Your opponent's either going to get the 1 shot or they aren't, I think, at this point. Research discards the other 2. You're going to draw a fresh hand of 7. And now you are fully loaded.
Oh,
Xander reevaluating the line. Is that a big charm we see?
That doesn't matter too much, but I spy with my little eye that quick shooting Inteleon.
It is there in the deck.
That is one way to actually get the extra damage over on the opposing Suicune V, but having to discard a boss's orders from the hand with that Professor's Research, and looking at these 7 cards, I don't see an Arceus V-Star.
missing out on that big attack. So important here when you have the potential for a victorious line and you can't take advantage of it. Xander's just going to take the opportunity to fully evaluate the exact situation. Do I have to press my luck here? Can I take a riskier line, or do I have to play it safe? Do I have to pass back? Because if you give Daniel Lynch the potential to pop off with this final Suicune here on the bench, with the fourth one being in the prizes, this could turn the tide massively on this game.
And here we see Xander just desperately filling the bench now. You kind of have to. You need more resources here, and having the second Sobble down does turn on cards like Level Ball to find the Drizzile and get some other cards to help out. But wow, this Professor's Research was terrible. These 7 cards are not helping Xander at all.
And we've seen so many strong Professor's Research. It's to see the pendulum swing to the completely other side. Just going to go for a swing here on the Inteleon.
Yep, 130 damage. Not enough to take the knockout. The Inteleon has 160 HP, so still sticking around. But this is the opening that Daniel needed here, and will he capitalize on it?
Even if you are able to put the pieces together and get the knockout, you still need one more prize. And that's what makes this so awkward for Daniel Lynch, because you need to like essentially expend one of your big combos in order to swing through, and then Xander still has an opportunity to jump back into a dominating position. Both lists, I think, are demonstrating how intricate, right, these setups can be with the Inteleon line, having access to so many different options and trainers at any given moment. It's definitely a lot to take in, and somehow, you know, it's only been a few minutes here in game 1. There's still going to be plenty of time for the rest of these games to go down in the set.
Somehow, I mean, it's been like 20 minutes. No shake about that. This game has gone on a long time. Top Cut does have an extended time from the usual 60 minutes you have to play. And here we see that Evolution Incense finds the Shady Dealings Inteleon yet again. The reason why Finn's deck is so powerful is the fact that you just play V's Inteleon. You don't play that quick shooting one. You're able to attack with it like we have been seeing right now. And the fact that you need all these trainer cards, there's so many moving pieces. When you can search for 2 of them with 1 Pokemon, it's insane.
Yeah, and you don't want to, exactly, you don't want to be ever in a situation where you need the Shady Dealings Inteleon and you have the quick shooting one instead. Repeatedly, the quick shooting Inteleon we've seen has always been the backup plan, the fail-safe. And with this deck, we don't need a fail-safe when you are this consistent. Melanie also coming through, getting that water energy attached and drawing 3 cards. What a beautiful engine for these water-based decks. So now, even more options available to Daniel Lynch. Going to reevaluate the board, going to reevaluate the hand, and see what the proper line is. We have yet to see the rare candy Ludicolo come out. It just hasn't been the right time, but you've got to start taking some prizes here if you're Daniel Lynch to get within the distance you need to take that final prize.
Ludicolo is that Pokemon that shows up to the party late, but once it shows up, it turns to the life of the party, I tell you what.
The life of the party, indeed, but it's also the life of this deck. Like, Suicune is very strong at just being able to deal some decent damage, but with the bloated HP of these Pokemon V and V Max that we're seeing these days, you need that enthusiastic dance to really turn up the Blizzard Rondo into an incredible storm of the century.
So this is interesting. We have a Cross Switcher coming out for the first time from Daniel here. Brings up the Sobble, so we're going to probably see just a KO here.
Giving up 1 prize. This does put Daniel in the position to only need to one-shot an Arceus. Scoop up net.
So this does turn off the ability for Drizzile Shady Dealings. He saw Xander really debate about playing the Sobble down, but ended up deciding for it. And that can kind of give away some information like, oh, okay, well, maybe you do have access to that Drizzile, but another play could have been going for the Drizzile on the bench to kind of cut off that quick shooting and keep the Suicune from getting that extra damage on it too. So we'll have to see how this ends up, but still a really good play here, going down to 2 prizes.
And no doubt Daniel considered both of those lines, right?
Oh,
that
for
sure. There was a quick shooting Inteleon, or do I want to stop the search from the Sobble? Because if you have the quick shooting Inteleon, it doesn't matter as much if you don't have boss.
Oh, here we have the Echoing Horn, bringing back the Arceus V that was knocked out earlier, and now there is a full bench in play. There's no playing around it for Xander here with that Blizzard Rondo, and it's all going to come down to these next 2 turns.
These next 2 turns are make or break in game 1. The players know that this is going to be a best of 3. They might have a little bit of leeway, but being up that first game gives you such a massive advantage because you can dictate the pace of the second. You're keeping your opponent under pressure, and if you know that the game is not going your way, you know, you're forcing your opponent to be the one to scoop, or you just scoop immediately because you can take so much more time for that game 3 since you're already up that 1 win.
Again, now Daniel just thinning out the deck further and further. Don't need the 3rd Lotad. It's not going to do too much right now. And again, like I said, it's going to end either on Xander's next turn or Daniel's turn after this.
So there's the snipe coming through, takes down the Sobble. Some extra damage on the other Arceus. With the enthusiastic dance, everything's already lined up. Just that little bit of chip damage is really all you need to see. Getting that prize, a Cape of Toughness, being added to the hand by for Daniel Lynch.
Really wish he had that during the turn to get that Suicune just bumped up a little more on the HP. And this is going to be the turn for Xander here. Brings up the Drizzile. You have that quick shooting Inteleon. Needs to find the Arceus V-Star and a boss's orders to take this game this turn.
And we'll see if that is what can happen. Searching through the deck here with the quick ball, just looking through the deck, seeing what is left in there, getting a proper understanding of the percentages for these draws.
The way Xander's playing it, I'm not sure it's in the cards here. You don't have any source of extra draw, especially with the Path to the Peak in play, no bi-barrel in sight. And you need that boss's orders in hand. And yeah, this is just Inteleon to do some damage with that double turbo energy. Professor's Research discards the hand, and wow, yeah, this is going to be...
Drawing 7 more cards. Quick shooting Inteleon does have the waterfall for 70, which will be downgraded a little bit thanks to the double turbo energy. But just dealing 50 more, is that enough to knock out this? Oh, it does. The other Inteleon
does definitely do enough to take the knockout. Inteleon only has 30 HP remaining. But the fact of the matter is,
this is so close, and there's the Zigzagoon finally being grabbed off of the prizes.
Yeah, Daniel has the Inteleon in hand with Shady Dealings, so can go fetch the boss's orders, and with just a rare candy Ludicolo, could take any of the prizes. You can even just take the knockout on the Crobat. And
ooh, Shady Dealings for 2 gets the cross switcher to bring up the Crobat.
I keep saying boss's orders, but there's no boss's orders in this deck. It is all cross switcher here, and just
the
showing
rare candy
up
Ludicolo.
Oh wow!
Let's go. The cross switcher. Its boss is written on one card and its orders written on the other card. You got to find 2 halves, and that is so exciting to see because again, that Shady Dealings Inteleon allowing you to get 2 trainers makes the cross switcher that much better of a combo because you just naturally draw 1, and then you can very easily use the Drizzile to get the other half. You get that powerful switch, that gust effect, without giving up your supporter for the round.
Yeah, and the fact that the way Daniel's built his deck, it is Melanie and Raihan, and then you got no other supporters. You only want to use those. They charge up your Pokemon every single turn. And with that, you're able to actually capitalize on those cross switchers, and it's just been amazing to see how he's played out each of his matches this weekend.
The ability to build your deck in such a way that you can avoid running what is considered to be such an important core card to a lot of TCG decks like this in the Pokemon card game is just chef's kiss. I think is what I want to say here, is having that additional upside of being able to have such a powerful effect plus again your supporter. And now going into game 2, Daniel's feeling himself, right? That came down to the wire, don't get me wrong, that was very close. That came down to, you know, one or two missed cards at an opportune time to just immediately swing the game one way or the other. But now, going into the next game, we could see that Suicune come down early, but with the cape of toughness, and suddenly it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, that is one big thing too that we didn't really get to witness, and Daniel was able to just figure out a way around it. And here, having the Arceus V in the active, I believe, for Xander, another one in hand, looks like a pretty good start. You're able to get to go first, do some more setting up, and hopefully get some more Sobble down. But as of right now, it doesn't look too good for the hand.
Yeah, so players are now off to the races. Game 2 in the first round of the top 8 here in Salt Lake City. Daniel in a position to take this down in a clean 2-0. If we can put it all together to scoop up next, being prized. A lot of versatility and recycling of these Sobbles off the table right now. But getting the start they wanted, you talked about it before, that the Suicune start was less than ideal. Getting the Sobble in play right away means that you can set up for the keep calling.
And here we go, level ball to start things off for Xander here. He's gonna find a Sobble. It's what you want. It's good to get into play early, and as long as there's an energy, that's really what Arceus wants to do in a turn. And we're gonna have to see Daniel have a pretty good turn, probably ending in a quick calling too.
In game 1, Xander did a really good job of still squeezing a lot of value out of the deck without needing to flood that bench with the Sobbles and the Inteleons. Was only using one, pretty much had 1.5 in rotation at any given time, trying to limit that damage as much as possible. And it paid off. Again, it came really down to the wire. And I'm wondering if Xander's going to stick to the same strategy and just try again, or if kind of getting a little bit of a taste of how this matchup is really going to play out, if there will be a shift here in game 2.
Well, now after having that game 1, you also have to play around the Echoing Horn later on in the game.
Yes.
You have to be really careful because that's just an extra damage for Daniel there if he needs it. And finding the Sobble off the level ball, Xander knows what's prized. You see those 2 Path to the Peak prized here? They could probably stay there. You don't really need those. One is going to stick for the entire game. Daniel does not play any sort of stadium whatsoever.
And so with the Sobble hitting the bench, another Arceus, this is a very stable foundation, right? This deck doesn't just wants to be very slow, methodical, and get set up. As long as Daniel doesn't explode out of the gates with an incredibly powerful turn, Xander's opener here, even though it wasn't flashy, is the makings of a solid line.
Flashy, solid though, I'm not too sure. No energy in play does mean the one of Melanie might have to come out from Xander for next turn. So that means Daniel has a little bit of time to get set up here. You can energy on the active and quick calling for all of the Sobble in your deck. You have a Lotad in hand to go along with it. And who needs Suicune, right? You already have a Melanie in hand, so with retreating that active Sobble, that puts the water in the discard, and that's exactly where Daniel wants to be.
And it looks like that is going to be the case here. And we saw, too, the early developments of the Lotads, exactly what happened in game 1, and they sat there and sat there and sat there the entire game, and until eventually Ludicolo showed up there late to the party, as you would put it.
I mean, it's a Fiesta Pokemon, I don't know what.
But, I mean, the players are certainly having a lot of fun here. And, again, in top 8 at Salt Lake City, game 2, Xander under a lot of pressure now. After you drop that first game, you know that you have to win 2-0. You've got to get a better setup. And I think at the very least, Xander is confident in their read on the matchup. You can kind of see they aren't super worried by the body language, just evaluating, already thinking ahead about the different lines of play.
And there we see it all for Sobble in play. It is now getting ready for just anything you could possibly think of.
I know, they look so nice and innocent now, but they're going to start doing some shady things and getting a lot of cards out of the deck. And at the very least, with 2 scoop up next prize, Daniel's not going to do anything absolutely ridiculous, but still a lot of deck thinning and card draw on the horizon for Daniel, and we'll see what Xander can make happen.
Another awkward hand here, discarding a boss's orders. One is in the prize cards as well, I believe, and not having the ability to discard a water energy does not turn on the Melanie in hand. That means you're going to probably have to play a different supporter to try to draw into some cards, and it really just needs to find a double turbo so you can get any energy in play.
I mean, with this setup here, getting the Bidoof, the Industrious Incisors, it's a very rare occurrence, I think, so far, that the tech has lined up and properly shown up on the bench. But when it does pay off. We know that, again, this Suicune deck is very combo focused, needs to get set up before it starts to take those really big hits, and this is going to give Industrious Incisors a chance to get more value, I think, than we've seen in any other matchup so far.
Oh, no. Okay, there is a professor's research, so I was worried there for a second Xander was going to pass the turn, but being able to draw a new hand, needs to find energy yet again. Does find the V-Star, though.
There's the double turbo.
We could see the V-Star on the bench.
V-Star on the bench, Starbirth, make it all come together.
Get the double turbo on the active, maybe, and charge up that way. Unfortunately, did put the choice belt on the active, but here is a level ball, so Drizzile is now live.
So even when things were looking awkward for Xander, making the pieces come together, the supporter for the turn, Professor's Research already used, but still so many more options available thanks to the Intellion line.
Looking at the hand, there is the Path to the Peak as well. We got the Crobat V, so we could see a little bit more digging here, but I'm not too sure what Xander is going to try to go for. You kind of already used a supporter for the turn. It's going to be impossible to charge up a Trinity Nova. You're just going to probably have to go with the Trinity Charge here. Still good, but
it's
slow.
Exactly. It's a slow play, and Xander is in a position where you would rather not be forced into a position like this. And it essentially all comes down to what Daniel's hand quality looks like, right? You're like, if they can't capitalize on this slow tempo turn, then I can make it out of the woods, stabilize, and then truly get my engine online. Evolution Incense is the card off of the Drizzile, finds the Arceus V-Star. So we will perhaps see a Starbirth as well. And then 2 more cards need to be found to really tie this turn together. Maybe another Sobble for the bench. And we can see every time Xander puts a Pokemon on the bench, they're mentally calculating that Blizzard Rondo. Daniel with the extra bonus of playing a deck that forces your opponent to do extra math.
All right, so we do see both the Arceus V-Star come down for Xander, so there's not going to be an attack this turn. And just the double turbo on the bench.
In the pass, holding the Starbirth, saving it for the opportune moment. A lot of players like to use it right away in order to get 2 great cards to set up for the next round. But again, you know your opponent's not going to wall you out with Path to the Peak, so you're just sitting there, and you're going to save that Starbirth ability that you can only use once per game for getting the 2 perfect cards that you need, right? That Galarian Zigzagoon, Boss's Orders kind of combo, potentially.
Now, if Daniel does have everything, this can be an amazing turn, all right? So you have the Quick Ball for Suicune V. You can retreat the Sobble, get that water in the discard. You have Melanie in hand, so that's already the energy on the Suicune. You have the extra draw from Suicune. You also have a level ball in hand for Drizzile. Rare Candy is the Ludicolo in there. And with a second energy, that's just a clean 280 knockout.
That's a clean knockout. It's going to put you right back into the saddle here. After again, the Sobble keep calling, a very slow setup, the potential for the Suicune list to just explode suddenly is what is to be feared, and this is what Xander did not want to see after being forced to take such a low tempo turn. Suicune V using that fleet-footed, getting one extra card. The water energy off the top. The Jeremy Jalen prophecy all coming together for Daniel here.
Another level ball off the top, it seems like. So that's another Drizzile if he chooses. Oh, no, maybe a quick ball.
So many strong pieces in the hand. If you do have the quick ball, you're worried about what you want to discard, and maybe you leave yourself in the lurch at a later turn.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. One play that is actually very good with this deck is being able to rare candy into the Shady Dealings Inteleon, but it looks like Daniel is opting just for the Ludicolo here off that Evo Incense.
Wonderful. So it looks like the pieces are indeed all coming together. But yeah, you're right. The rare candy to get the Shady Dealings Inteleon to draw 2 more cards. Also have access to that Hydro Bullet in a very, very tight spot like we saw in the first game. Enthusiastic Dance boosting the Blizzard Rondo.
I better see all y'all dancing at home. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, let's see it there at home. And there is the knockout. 2 prizes taken.
Insane turn from Daniel there.
Game number 2. Daniel is 1/3 of the way of closing out this first set of top 8 here at Salt Lake City. You know they're feeling good. This is the part where your heart's starting to beat a little bit faster. You're rubbing your hands together, salivating. I need this win. But Xander, on the other side of the table, still remaining very cool, very calm, finally gets the Bibarel, has the Industrious Incisors to get more card draw.
It's super unfortunate, though, with the last turn and that knockout on that active Arceus V-Star. That had the one Choice Belt on it.
Yes.
Choice Belt's the way you can actually take consistent knockouts on Suicune V. Without it, you're going to need a bunch of headbutt tantrums from Galarian Zigzagoon.
So there
or
it is.
Quick Shooting.
Beautiful. Attach, evolve, evolve. Empty hand, draw up to 5 thanks to that Industrious Incisors.
I don't think he got there, though. That hand does not do anything of the sort. There's
Big
a scoop
charm.
up net, but that's not going to do it here. 10 damage short. No way to get that Galarian Zigzagoon out. Oh,
Yeah,
no, you still
because
got the Starbirth ability. Never mind.
Starbirth, okay, that's there. The double turbo energy. Also nerfing that damage a little bit, needs to be offset. So what's the grab here from the Starbirth? Zigzagoon, scoop up net. Marnie,
Yeah, grabbing that Zigzagoon is step number 1. The Marnie is going to help just because Daniel's been shaping his hand out throughout this game, and it's going to be pretty simple with those 3 Sobble in play to really just find something to get going.
And we'll see if it does pay off going for this Marnie line. You can see when a player is behind, they have to adopt this stance of trying to just buy as much time as they can and disrupt the opponent. I think these Arceus decks are probably more built around doing so, of course. There's the Galarian Zigzagoon hitting the bench. And now Marnie with the Quick Shooting Inteleon. There is 2 more damage counters that can be assigned anywhere, offsetting the, of course, the nerf damage thanks to the double turbo energy. 5 new cards drawn.
Pretty important cards for Xander here just to continue on the pressure for the next turn or 2. But even bigger for Daniel, we'll need to try to find a way to get a Shady Dealings active, and from there the hand is unlocked.
Ultra Ball discarding 2 cards, looking for another Arceus, it seems.
Yeah, actually have someone to charge up with that Trinity Nova attack and just keep things rolling. Maybe you can even utilize a Sharon's Care if the Arceus in the active isn't knocked out in 1 hit.
So the pieces are both there for Xander and Daniel. They just need to capitalize. Does get the knockout there. Everything came through with the Quick Shooting, with the Galarian Zigzagoon. No Cape of Toughness on that Suicune.
No Cape, only 1 water in the deck, though. It's still good. There's plenty of double turbo energy left. And with this, Xander goes down to 4 prizes to Daniel's 4. we'll just have to see how bad that Marnie affected his hand.
And here it is, one off the top, plus what was gained from Marnie. Can we put together another big swing to strike back at Arceus V-Star? An early advantage seemingly evaporating if Daniel can't turn this one around.
Now, I did see a Drizzile in hand, so that will be able to Shady Dealings for another card to keep going. Maybe something like an Evolution Incense to get the Shady Dealings Inteleon. You get 2 more cards and maybe some Scoop Up Nets. You need a Marnie here. Or not a Marnie, a Melanie.
All right, so we've got Suicune on the bench. Drizzile searching now, trying to put the pieces together. Another Melanie getting the attachment. Beautiful. The setup is here. Taking another quick look through the deck before the shuffle begins just to see, okay, what am I hoping ends up as the top 3 cards here? What do I want to draw off of the Melanie? You attach that basic energy from the discard pile onto a Pokemon, and then once you do, you draw 3 cards. It's been so important for this deck and many others that we've seen throughout Salt Lake City's broadcast.
Yeah, really just being able to surprise an attacker out of nowhere most of the time. And with, oh wow, I just got a glimpse of Daniel's hand. There's the Evolution Incense in there as well. So Inteleon is not too far away, or just the other, some other stuff. And oh yeah, so
you're always, it's like just a arm's length away from any card that you would want in this deck. And when you have access to almost your entire deck at any given time, you do have to be very analytical, right? Yeah. You get caught up in the weeds of analyzing every potential possible line, but I think that Daniel has demonstrated the ability to zero in on the winning line, and the cross switcher is indeed found.
Yeah, this is very needed. There's no Lotad in play to evolve into Ludicolo, so cross switcher is the one way for Daniel to get some prizes on this turn. You never really want to attack into that Arceus just because of the Sharon's Care. So here we see Fleet-Footed yet again, finds another energy, so that's very big here. And I believe he's
just a little bit shy.
A Choice Belt.
Yeah, it needs to find that Choice Belt, needs to find just a little bit of a boost. Shady Dealings and Inteleon.
Whichever one wasn't evolved this turn.
Yeah, it's one or the other. They're like, okay, yeah, you're good. Shady Dealings and Inteleon, still looking for it. Trying to find perhaps a Scoop Up Net here. There's 2 in the prizes, but how many do we have left over?
Just 1.
Just 1.
Really gonna have to prioritize that to the max. And still, again, maybe that Choice Belt to creep up the damage a little bit more.
As we get into the later turns, right, of this game, the decks get thinner and thinner. And so every time the player is searching, they're looking to see what is remaining, sculpting and adapting their game plan as those cards become more available to just natural top decks. So Scoop Up Net and Choice Belt, excellent choices.
You called it. Yeah, that Scoop Up Net is going to be great at picking up something like the Inteleon or the Ludicolo here.
All right, going to get that back in the hand. Has to re-establish the full bench for the Blizzard Rondo to get the knockout here on the Arceus V. It has not evolved yet, so still is within the proper range now, especially with the Choice Belt.
There is that Drizzile that was picked up with the Scoop Up Net, so another Shady Dealings from Daniel here. Maybe finding a Lotad with something like a Level Ball. Just try to threaten another big Ludicolo knockout, especially since there's no other 2 prizers on the bench except for that very big Arceus V-Star with that big charm.
And once Daniel does take this knockout, the 2 prizes grabbed are suddenly Scoop Up Nets, and the deck just explodes with value. The ability to send these Lotads and everything and these Sobbles right back to the hand, get those evolutions and those Shady Dealings reapplied onto the bench means that you are just accelerating even further into every single card you need to put these big attacks together.
Oh, it does look like they Shady Dealings for the Lotad would need to get a Level Ball or something like a Quick Ball in the discard.
Yeah, I'm missing the changeover here. So we just need to see one more card, I think, enter the discard pile.
Glad we were able to catch that this time.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. You're doing so many things in a turn. You're just shortcutting everywhere you can. But these are the important things to go through, especially in top 8.
Yeah, so fortunately, we were able to catch that before anything ridiculous went awry. And of course, a lot of our eagle-eyed viewers as well, no doubt, were yelling at their screens.
We know.
So, you know, big shout out to them, of course, for showing up and also, you know, tuning into the broadcast, because we wouldn't be able to do any of this without our wonderful audience today. So big shout out to all of you at home.
And with that turn, it's finally over. Blizzard Rondo takes the knockout on that Arceus V. And now Xander is left with just the V-Star charged up, but quite a field. You have that quick shooting Inteleon, you got the Bibarrel, and then you got that Galarian Zigzagoon. Maybe a scoop up neck can help deal some extra damage.
And with Arceus V-Star potentially hitting the active, trying to go for a KO on this Suicune, you just have to pray that somehow in a deck that's known for the ability to search out every little thing, that they don't have the next Suicune in line to get properly accelerated. The combo of the Melanie plus the manual attachment means that Daniel can just come out swinging. There is no setup. It's just suddenly this Pokemon V is in play, it's in the active. Oh no, where did my active go?
Oh, wow. You even see Xander had the Sharon's Care in hand. If the cross switcher didn't come out, it was going to be a brutal turn for Daniel. And with the hand, you can maybe thin it down 2 cards and then Industrious Incisors for a couple and see where you go from there. But needs to find a scoop up net to be able to take the knockout on the active, and that's step 1.
Everything is on the line for Xander. There's no potential for a scoop here. They have to win this game and take it to a game 3. So every possible out will be calculated and played to. Such a storied player, such a veteran of the scene, of course, is going to be playing for every possible opportunity here.
All right, Quick Ball was found off of the Industrious Incisors. If the Crobat is still in the deck, that's an option to draw more cards. You are filling your bench up even more, though, and that's really scary. It's also another 2-prizer to put down.
Quick shooting comes on to the Suicune. 2 damage counters. We have Big Charm that offsets the double turbo energy. Quick Ball trying to find the answer here, thinning through the deck. What can Xander possibly get, though, in order to take down this Suicune? It doesn't have the Cape of Toughness on it. So I think that this would be a knockout with the Trinity Nova.
No, it's still 10 short from the double turbo. So really,
we have to find a scoop up net for this Galarian Zigzagoon.
And with that, I don't think it's possible. The hand is just a couple energies and that Sharon's Care. And with that, the Trinity Nova, you can take the knockout and then clean up the Suicune with the quick shooting, but you're not going to get another 2-prizer from Daniel next turn. The bench is already full. They have that Shady Dealings Inteleon in hand and another Evolution Incense to go along with it. Oh, no. I think this is going to be the knockout and the game here.
Yep, Ludicolo being grabbed off of the Evolution Incense. There's the rare candy, Ludicolo. And that is it. A 2-0 from Daniel here in top 8 of the Salt Lake City Regional Championships, bringing it down with a deck that no one thought it could.
Yeah,
what a fantastic start. Back-to-back victories.
Yeah, Daniel's been doing it all weekend long. Cross-switcher putting in a ton of work there. And then, of course, Ludicolo just showing up to the party, saying, I'm going to do an extra 100 damage every time I show up.
Beautiful.
And that just gets across the finish line again and again. Now moving into top 4, I know the only deck he was really worried about was the Jolteon deck that bubbled at 9th.
The Jolteon,
so
not
clear
making the
path
cut.
maybe to the regional win here for Daniel Finnegan Lynch.
And when your natural predator is knocked out of the bracket, you are so happy. It's potentially smooth sailing from here. Any tight spots that potentially hit that Suicune deck, you are able to finesse your way out of them with that cross-switcher combo with all of the Shady Dealings. The Shady